Hello once again. I'm here to give you another report. This one here is an old one too, but I'm just going through my stack of paperwork now and finding all these stories that I was interested in enough to print them. So that's what I did. I printed them up and now I want to share them with people, and I think they're pretty nice articles. This one here is pretty good. This is called the Presidential Canidates Handlers. I don't see who wrote this, but I can do research on it and come back for follow-up. Let's see. John McCain. This is who his handlers are. These are the people that control him. He doesn't control himself. Only Ron Paul controls himself. Remember that. The rest of the candidates have puppet masters controlling and pulling the strings. And this is why. Henry Kissinger. For John McCain, this is what he got. Henry Kissinger. Richard Armitage. Former Deputy Secretary of State, covert CIA drug pipeline manager and Bush family ally Robert McFarlane. Reagan, Bush National Security Advisor. Iran-Contra scandal. William Christo, arch neocon editor of Weekly Standard. Alexander Haig, Reagan Bush Secretary of State. George Shultz, Reagan Bush Secretary of State. Hoover Institution, Bechtel exec, kingmaker, responsible for vetting of George W. Bush prior to recommending him to the establishment for president. Brent Scowcroft, Kissinger's associate and national security advisor to President Ford and George Herbert Walker Bush. James Woosley, former CIA director. Lawrence Eagleburger, Secretary of State under Bush 41. William Ball, diplomat and Reagan administration Secretary of Navy. Colin Powell, Secretary of State under Bush and Army officer who helped cover up the My Lai massacre in Vietnam. Or what is that called? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not even going to go for it right now. It'll dawn on me later. Now Barack Obama. Well, we know the big Brzezinski's on his side, the big Z. He's got him behind him, National Security Advisor and handler of President Carter. That was Carter's handler. Anthony Lake, Clinton's administration National Security Advisor and President's handler. Sarah Sewall, Clinton's administration Deputy Secretary of Defense, counterinsurgency czar. Richard Clark, Clinton and Bush administration counterterrorism expert. Susan Rice, Clinton's administration Africa specialist and NSC member of Globalist Brookings Institution. Bruce Riddell, former CIA officer, NSC Near East and Asian Affairs at Brookings. Obama already wants to bomb Pakistan. The big Zig would like a war with Russia. Well, of course he would. It's a big fish. Okay, Hillary Clinton. Well, this is going to be just a bigger list than Barack Obama has. Bill Clinton, Madeleine Albright, Clinton's administration Secretary of State, responsible for the globalist intervention in the Balkans. Sandy Berger, Clinton's national security advisor and handler. Richard Holbrooke, former U.S. ambassador to the UN and member of the board of directors of the Council on Foreign Relations. He is also a member of the International Institute of Strategic Studies. He was an advisor to the presidential campaign of Senator John Kerry in 2004. In 2006, Holbrooke joined the presidential campaign of Senator Hillary Clinton and has become a top foreign policy advisor. Holbrooke's name is often referred to when speaking to Secretary of State in a Democratic administration and is likely to be the prime contender for the position. General Wesley Clark handled the attack on Serbia and Kosovo. I bet they want to go back there, don't they? Leslie Glib, arch globalist and on the Council of Foreign Relations, former State and Defense Department official. Martin Indiki, Clinton's administration Israel ambassador. I think that's how it was pronounced. Brookings Institute, Strobe Talbot, second Clinton handler, and Deputy Secretary of State, creator of Caspian Oil Group. Brookings Institute, Jeffrey Smith, former CIA General Counsel. She's got a stack of puppet masters. And last but not least on the list, since these are basically the only people it's really in the array, Mike Huckabee. He even has some ties to handlers, and his handlers is Huckabee has not been forthcoming about his advisors, but what the Post reveals is quite enough. It's maybe a Post article. Ed Rollins, Republican political operative sent in to salvage Huckabee's campaign just prior to the national media boost. Frank Gaffney, neocon at CFR and Center for Security Policy. Richard Haas, CFR President since July 2003. From 1989 to 1993, Haas was Special Assistant to the United States President George Herbert Walker Bush and National Security Council Senior Director for Near East and South Asian Affairs. In 1991, Haass received the Presidential Citizens Medal for helping to develop and explain U.S. policy during Operation Desert Shield and Operation Desert Storm. Previously, he served in various posts in the Department of State, 1981 through 85, and the Department of Defense, 1979 through 1980. And was a legislative aide in the U.S. Senate. And that covers your handlers. And like I said, there is no information because Paul is a constitutionalist, libertarian, and a true Republican. And the rest of them, well, you can see what they are. They're puppets. And if you look closely, you'll see the strings that they have on them. They got strings hanging. And you can see them when they pull them. Just like when you could see Mitt Romney when he got talked to and someone asked him about raising taxes. Oh, I'm not going to raise taxes. That was interesting. That must have been a handler for him. And it must have been so obvious they decided to pull out. That's just my theory. Besides that covers everything I wanted to say on this topic for now. And I'll get back to you people and give you more information as it comes available to me. I'll be going through my paperwork, stacks of paper, and find something interesting. I'll post it up here on the web. So you all take frame and take good care, be good or be good at it, and vote for Ron Paul. And that's the name, and that's the news for the night. So good luck and good night. Oops, I know somebody else used that.